Hello, and welcome to our Infor Builder Hour. Today, we are showcasing a team from Infor's partner, NSA Computer Exchange. I first met this team at last year's inaugural Infor Community Hackathon in 2024. Today, they're going to share with us details about their winning hackathon submission. For those of you who are new to Builder Hours, this is where we invite Infor technical experts like this great team from NSA to showcase implementation details of Infor technologies, with our goal being to better enable you to build and implement your own solutions. This also is an opportunity for open dialogue with you submitting questions through chat. For those of you who are already familiar with Builder Hours, you will see that today's session will be a little different. First, you'll notice that the scope of what the NSA team has built is pretty ambitious to cover in just 1 hour. Second, beyond the core Infor technologies that the NSA solution uses, they have extended the solution, integrating with non-Infor technologies. I don't want to steal their thunder because nobody can explain it better than them. However, for those of you who work in application architecture or write code or are interested in hackathons, I think you will enjoy the level of details that you will see today. Like all Infor Builder Hours, you will see Infor Cloud Suite at the core. In this case, Cloud Suite Distribution, CSD, plus Infor Document Manager, IDM, Infor API Gateway, and Infor Open Network ION. Now, to confirm that you are familiar with the chat box here, I would like to ask each of you to please enter in the chat box what you judge your experience level to be in building with Infor OS Platform. 4 options might include none, or second, new, third, proficient, or last, expert. Also, if you are among the 635 people who registered and participated in last year's Infor Hackathon, please also add in chat, yes, hackathon, because we're very happy to see you again. And while you do that, we will introduce ourselves. I will go first, and then we will go around, and some other NSA team members are going to join Brian and I here on screen. And so I'll start with me. My name is Greg Hamer, and I am Infor's Developer Engagement Strategist. And with NSA, we will start with Brian. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly. Thanks, Greg. My name is Brian Jones. I'm the VP of Technology with NSA Computer Exchange, or some may hear us as NSA Professional Services. NSA itself is an Infor consulting, installation, implementation group. We've been around for 40 plus years implementing Infor software. I myself have a background in computer systems and engineering. I've been working with Infor solutions since the mid-90s, and I run the technical group here at NSA. With that, Sergio, if you want to introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Sergio Garcia. I'm the enterprise architect for NSA. I've been with NSA for a little over 2 years. I've been playing with the Infor products for about a decade, and I've been in IT for almost 3 decades. Rob?
Hi, I'm Rob Thayer. I'm a senior technical consultant for NSA. I've been working with Infor Technologies now for about the past 20 years, probably a little bit more. I also worked with Infor for a number of years back in the early mid-2010s with some great names, including Ray Shiroli. And for those of you who don't know, Ray is one of the great technical minds of Infor and has been working there for quite some time. So today I'm working with the amazing NSA team, and I've been here with NSA for close to 6 years now. I mostly work with third-party integrations using the Infor technologies for things like the API gateways, workflows, scripting even. I also provide training on the same topics, and every year I try and dream up something fun and exciting to present at TUG that leverages Infor's technologies.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to just give a little bit more intro, then hand the baton off to Brian. And then he, again, in turn, will pass it back to Rob and to Sergio. So some folks might be joining by watching the recording after the live event. For you, we encourage you to ask questions using the new Infor community forums, which you can find by going to the Infor developer portal at developer.infor.com and then selecting community from the menu there. These community forums are newly added on the developer portal, and over 2,000 Infor developers have already signed up. The community is for everyone, so if you have not yet tried it out, please be sure to go to the developer portal and explore the options under the new community menu option. Also on the developer portal, you will find more information about last year's hackathon. Just go to developer.infor.com and select hackathon from the main menu there. Now, back to our session today. Thank you to everyone who has just posted in chat. And the idea for Builder Hour is for you to engage with us and make this as interactive as possible. We believe a lot of really interesting content and tips can come from you, our live audience. So throughout the hour, please help us out by actively using the chat function. Don't be shy, ask questions, and also share your tips and help direct the conversation so you can get the most out of our time together. Now, a number of folks had shared that they're relatively new to working in Infor, and so this will give you a master class really on what you will be able to achieve before too long. Please note that though Rob, Sergio, and I will be able to read the chat, we don't actually respond direct in chat. However, we have another NSA team member who did not get to introduce themselves, Chris Roberts, who will be responding in chat. So he'll be providing you quick responses. Plus, there are also members of the Infor team supporting the chat. So they'll be able to field any Infor or hackathon related questions. Then, as needed, they will escalate up questions for I and the NSA team here to answer by voice. Before we go any further, and because this is a live session, we are taking questions. I do need to state a disclaimer. So with open questions, any number of topics may come up, including questions about future products, roadmaps, proposed dates, etc. So we just need to state clearly, we are not making any promises about those topics in this episode. But that said, what the NSA team has prepared focuses entirely on features available today. And then last, before I hand this off to the NSA team, I want to set a little context about the hackathon where this team first built out this solution. First, last year was the inaugural Infor Community Hackathon in 2024. And between registration and the award ceremony, it was about 2 months long. However, the build stage was only 9 days long. So that's not even a 2-week sprint. And so the NSA team were successful in building out a winning prototype in that window. Also, I want to add a few notes about hackathons. People join hackathons for many reasons. First, hackathons are a great place to meet fellow developers, like the NSA team you're meeting today. Also, hackathons are a great learning opportunity. Not only did the hackathon have exclusive training just for the registrants, but when you build solutions, you gain important mastery of the technologies. Also, a hackathon can provide access to technology you may not already have. That was the case with another winning team last year that used the hackathon to get access to a then newly released Infor OS Platform technology that they did not already have. After their success in the hackathon, using this new technology, they were able to justify purchasing the solution. But most of all, what you build in a hackathon gives you a shot at the satisfaction of making technology deliver value for your company and your customers. And one thing I love about working today with the team from NSA is that I find their enthusiasm infectious. So if you are at all curious about what it takes to win a hackathon, what Brian, Rob, Sergio, and Chris over in chat share with you will give you great insights. And this is the first time my friends from NSA are hearing this, but Infor will have a hackathon again this year. I have no more details today, except that announcements will be made in April. So keep your eyes out for that those announcements next month. And okay, Brian, with that, I will hand off to you and your team.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for, again, giving us the opportunity to showcase what we have done with the hackathon and our AR glasses project. And everybody out there, again, welcome to the Infor Developer Hour, and please post questions in chat. That makes it interactive and makes this fun. First, I want to, again, talk about the people that are on the NSA team a little bit more. Again, I'm Brian Jones, a VP of Technology. I'm kind of overseer of the hackathon project. I did the presentation and I did a lot of the overseeing. Sergio Garcia is going to do a demonstration of our actual AR glass project. Uses AI components, data flows, APIs, things like that back into Cloud Suite. And Sergio will do the demonstration. Then we'll have Rob Thayer. Rob Thayer was the programming whiz behind things. He did the coding. He figured out how to communicate with the glasses and figured out how to make, kind of make the magic that makes everything work. And then finally, we've got Chris Roberts in the background. He's answering our questions here. He did our video production and kind of kept us on track as a group here at NSA. So NSA was invited last fall to participate in the Infor Hackathon event. And we started brainstorming ideas, things that might be fun and cool to do. We didn't just want to bring up the software and, do accounting or do stuff like that. We wanted to, okay, what's something that would be fun, fun and interesting to work on. And actually Sergio mentioned it in his intro. He said he's been playing with Infor solutions for several years, and that's what makes the job fun. You're playing with this stuff. So what we did is we all have VR headsets. This happens to be an Oculus. This happens to be a set of Meta glasses. We all have these kind of things, and we're like, okay, what can we do with them and practically apply it to the work we do every day? So we thought, okay, wouldn't it be cool to take one of these virtual devices, integrate it with Cloud Suite, and make it do something? So our first trick was we found, again, there were many types of devices. Like I said, there's the Oculus. We kind of eliminated this because, you're not going to be able to put this on your head and wear this around the warehouse or wear this in a work environment because you're going to get run over, that kind of thing. So we decided, okay, let's use some sort of glasses type device. So then we thought, okay, what are our requirements? What do we need? We need something, it'd be cool if it had a camera. It'd be cool if it had some display capability, maybe voice recognition, maybe audio. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. So we started looking for devices that could do some of that stuff. We ended up on a set of glasses called Brilliant Labs frames. So Brilliant Labs frames are glasses, and Sergio will demonstrate these. Sergio actually has a pair. I don't have a pair in front of me. Sergio, or these glasses actually take pictures. They have a display in them, so in your eye you can see information, and they actually do voice recognition. They don't do audio, so they can't play sounds back to us, but they can do all of those things. And they had a good development environment. Again, these Meta glasses are cool, but they don't have a good development environment yet. They're pretty closed with Facebook and Meta, and they don't have a display inside of them either. So we chose the Brilliant frames. The Brilliant frames also cost about $350 a set. So it wasn't like breaking the bank. We were spending $5,000 on a set of glasses. So then what we had to do is okay, what can we do with these glasses? And how can we do an integration? What are some cool things that we can do? And we had to do it in the amount of time we had for this hackathon. We only had a couple weeks to dream up an idea, and then we had to make a presentation, which was 5 minutes long, so it was pretty short. And then once we were chosen from Infor, so we didn't really do any coding or, other than just a little playing, we didn't really do any coding or anything until we were chosen. And then we had essentially a week to do that. So we put things together in a week. And again, we had to figure out things that we could do in that week. So we settled on 2 use cases. The first use case, and again, Sergio's going to demonstrate all of this. The first use case was, let's take our glasses, let's look at an item, let's have the glasses taking a picture of that item. Then what we'll do is we'll use some AI to clean up the space. We don't need our background. We don't want that. We'll make AI clean it up. Then we'll pull that item into Cloud Suite, into document management, and display it as a product image ultimately inside of Cloud Suite distribution. So that was pretty ambitious. Uses lots of pieces of Cloud Suites, and it actually worked. And then the second thing that we did with the glasses was, okay, we have the ability to have, again, a display inside of the glasses. So let's maybe look at a product, ask a question about it. So I want to know maybe product availability or warehouse location or something related to the product. So our second piece of this was taking the glasses, looking at a product, again, the glasses take a picture, figure out what it is, and we actually, in this case, we didn't have time to do fancy stuff, so we're either scanning a barcode or we spoke the product number. It went and looked up the product in the system, all the way back into Cloud Suite distribution, and returned information about the product. And throughout this, what we ended up using, again, we use Cloud Suite distribution, we use the API gateway, we use some external APIs and some AI stuff to do cleaning up the images, and more things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Sergio start here, and he's going to demonstrate again the project that we did. Then we'll come back to me. I'll answer some questions if there are questions. And then we'll go to Rob. Rob, again, will give a code review of how the solution worked, the nitty-gritty stuff. And then we'll go back again to more questions. So with that said, Sergio, you want to come out and do your demonstration?
Thanks, Brian. Hey, everyone. Again, I'm Sergio Garcia. Welcome to our Builder Hour. As Brian mentioned, I will be performing a demo of the solution that we came up with. It is a full demo. It's everything that we have developed. It wasn't a lot of time, as Brian mentioned, but it is fully functional. The 2 scenarios that I'm going to cover, as previously mentioned, we will do an image generation to CSD. So we'll take an image, get it over to CSD. You'll see all of that in action. And then we're going to get product information and display it right there on the glasses for you. Before we get into the actual demo, I want to talk a little bit about tech, a little bit about the application. I'm going to leave Rob to do the majority of that. And then after the actual demo, I'm going to go into the Cloud Suite side of the solution. Right, so we have the application, the glasses taking a picture, but what happens once the image gets over to Cloud Suite? How do we get that all the way into CSD? And I'll walk you through all of those pieces. So before anything, let's look at the technology. And so on the screen now are the Brilliant Frames glasses. This is what we ended up choosing for the reasons that Brian mentioned, which is cost, open framework for development, and then all the features, the microphone, the camera, the speakers, the air features, Bluetooth, etc. They're fairly fashionable, as you can see. I'll show you an image of their website so you can see kind of what they're promoting. But let me walk you through the components of these glasses. So the funny thing in the middle, this orange device, is the dongle, and that's how you charge the glasses. taken them off. That way we can start using them. If I turn them around, you'll see that there are 3 contacts. I'm trying to line this up. There are 3 contacts that'll charge it. On the front, you'll see that there's 2 pieces that I want to identify here. One is the little dot. It's not focusing, but there's a dot there above the ridge of the nose, and that is the camera. It is posed some challenges for us. And then on the right side, let me open this so you can see it. But on the right side, on the right lens, you will see that there's like a little area. I'm trying to get you guys to see it, but there's a little area, and that's the AR component of the glasses. That's where we send text and image data to the glasses, right? So these are the glasses. These are not prescription, although they do provide prescription lenses if you need that. So let me share my screen and take you to the rest of the demo. Okay, so what I'm showing you now is our GitHub homepage for our solution. And what I'm also showing you is a mirror of my phone. So the way we're going to do this demo, it's not the easiest demo to do, but the way we're going to do it is you're going to see on the phone what I see in the glasses. So what we've done with the application is we have split the output to send everything both to the glasses and to the phone. So I'm mirroring my phone so you can see what I see. And the only caveat that I will give you for that is that the camera itself is on the glasses. It's not on the phone. I'm going to try to position the camera as best I can so that you can see what I see and you can kind of follow along with the demo. And then, so before we get into the actual demo, a little bit of a caveat. We are early adopters with this technology. The camera is low resolution. It's very difficult to get light in there. The AR features are limited. The battery is fairly weak. The device itself, we had a lot of challenges with, but our hope is that through this demo, through this Builder Hour, you will be able to see the potential as we have seen, right? This is less about how the solution that we implemented works and envisioning ways in which the solution can be used in conjunction with Cloud Suite, in conjunction with ERP to add value to the business, add value to your customers, right? So what is demo number 1? What we're going to do with the demo, the idea here is you have these glasses on, you're walking along the warehouse, you see a product, and you want to get that product image into CSD, right? You lean over, you take a photo, you instruct the glasses to submit the photo, and then that photo gets loaded into CSD for use by sales, for use by your customer support folks, etc. Okay, so let me get started. So I'm going to go ahead and start the app on my phone, as you can see. And what you're looking at is the app is showing you the camera. That is a massage gun that I'm going to use for this demo. All of the text that you see on the camera on the phone, is what I see through the glasses now that I have them on. And then everything that I'm going to see on my glasses, you're going to see through the phone. We have an item here in Cloud Suite that's called a massage gun. If I move over my phone a little bit, you're going to see that there is no product image, right? And I can verify that by leaving and getting back in. And you'll see that it doesn't have any images. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean over and take a photo of the product, and then I'm going to instruct the glasses to submit the photo. So I'm going to go ahead and point this to my desk so you can kind of see what the text is. Add product image. Massage gun. Okay, so you're not seeing what I'm seeing. I instructed the application to take an image, which it did, and then I told it what the product image was, and it submitted it. The mirroring had a little bit of issues on the phone. I'm gonna fix that for the get product info. But assuming that process worked, assuming that the image was sent over and it's in CSD, let's go in here, and then you're going to see the image that was taken. When we go into the image, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, and that is you're going to see that the massage gun looks a little bit different than what I'm showing. This is related to the issues that I mentioned earlier, which is that the camera is not that strong. It requires a lot of light. The image is fairly grainy there, and it's low resolution. Okay, but you do see that the background has been removed, so it has been optimized, and within a second or two, it gets over to CSD. Right, very quick. It works very well. Happens in real time. I'm gonna now go over to demo number 2. So that concludes the demo for the image. Let me go to the demo of the product info. All right, I'm gonna get out and back into the app here. And so what I have here is I have a QR code. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan the QR code with the glasses after I give it a command. And on the glasses themselves, you're going to see, or on the mirror, on the phone, you're going to see the details of that product. It doesn't stay on very long, so focus on it when I go through the instructions. Get product info. Okay, so what I see is not what you see. Okay, so this is one of the issues that we've been discussing. This is primitive technology. It requires a little bit of fine tuning, but this is good that this is happening, since it kind of goes to show what that we are early adopters, and this is an area that we did see challenges in. Let me try this again. Get product info. Get product info. And there you go. Okay, so that worked that time. I scanned the QR code. It went and called the API and CSD and returned relevant information about that product within seconds. So it returned the quantity, the unit of measure, the price, etc. So pretty useful. We can obviously return other information to the glasses that we need, but this is the second use case that we wanted to demo for you, and that concludes those 2 demos. I hope that was useful. I hope you can see the potential that we saw when we did this. We're already discussing different ways that we can expand this and grow this. With that, my next step is to move into the Cloud Suite portion of the talk. Brian, did you want to?
No, I'm good. Again, this is what happens with a live demo. Go ahead and talk about the Cloud Suite section.
All right. So let me go into the Cloud Suite. So we just did the demo. What I want to go into now is walk you through the Infor solution, the Infor Cloud Suite side of the solution. We've put together this architecture diagram that shows the end-to-end high-level view of what is going on. We've done the demo for this. The glasses takes an image of a product, and then it communicates with the iPhone app that we designed and built, and then submits that to Cloud Suite. I'm going to talk about this portion of it, right? I'll probably stay within the slideware, since it allows me to do a few extra things here. We did a simple data flow. A lot of these components, if you've dealt with Ion, that you should be familiar with. This can be divided into 4 different sections and 4 different areas. There's a consumption step, where it subscribes to the baud. We split it, we optimize it, and we load it. We chose an IMS connection point simply because we can send it in real time and we can send a payload. We designed a custom payload called a custom object called product images, in which we can submit the base 64 encoded image stream, and then also load optimized versions of that image. We have 3 extra elements for that. And then at the bottom, we add an attribute sections with the idea that we can potentially send attributes to IDM. Like if we can get AI to identify certain features about a product and then get it in there without any manual intervention, right? So for right now, we're only using this top section. It is repeatable. So therefore, the first thing that we need to do is we need to split the XML, the payload, into separate bauds, right? So it can process the different images in parallel. We're using a merge item, a task in Ion to call the removal background API. So we landed on an API called remove BG. It does a lot of things. One of the things that it does is it removes the background. As you saw from the demo, there was a stack of paper, there was other things behind it, but the image itself ended up being completely white on the background. Adds professionalism. There's a lot of things you can do here. They can put a custom background, you can slap your logo on it, and you can do a lot more things, clean it up, add contrast, those kind of things. Once we've removed the background, we reinsert the encoded image into the baud through this merge activity. And then finally, we use a Python script to take that baud, convert it into a request JSON object that we send to the document management API to load the image into IDM and associate it with the product, right? And so at the end, we will each get an email. I probably have an email in my inbox that says that the image was loaded. If there are any issues, then it would also email those. So we did the demo, we did the 2 scenarios. You saw kind of how it worked. Hopefully you saw the potential. Now you know how everything worked on the Cloud Suite side. We're going to pass it off to Brian and to Rob to get into the code and potentially answer any questions.
Thank you again, Sergio. And again, sorry for the technical issues. So imagine this, Sergio used the camera, again, primitive camera. Again, I go back to my meta glasses here. These cameras on these are phenomenal. So if the technology gets there and things get combined, there's going to be really cool devices coming in the next year or so. So imagine again Sergio's demonstration here. You look at an item. You instruct the glasses to take a picture of the item. Maybe it goes out, uses AI to figure out what the item is. Maybe you say a product number or something like that. It goes out, puts it in the system, and then maybe it uses AI to go figure out a product description. Again, all of this stuff needs checking, things like that. But maybe it goes out, gets a product description, and puts that in the system too. So you're able to just kind of walk around, look at things, and pull them into the system. So on the lookup side, we can use voice and display to do just about anything. He did an example of products. Maybe we do things again such as customer lookups. We could do open orders. We could do anything we can get through an API. We can we can basically pull into the display on the glasses. And again, as the technologies evolve, think of a warehouse scenario. I mean, right now you've got RF guns and you do have voice picking, but what if you had visual picking? You're able to go into your warehouse, you talk, you look at an item, maybe it confirms that you're looking at the right thing, you pick it and you pull it, or you go, hey, I need some more of these. Where in my warehouse is that? So those are just, again, some of the future uses, and in theory, it's all possible. What we're going to do now is we're going to go into Rob's section. Rob was the designer of the code, talking to the glasses and doing all the communication. So Rob will explain how things work. So Rob, if you want to come on.
All right. Well, hi again, everybody. Again, I'm Rob Thayer, working with NSA as a technical consultant, and I had the opportunity to work on the code to make this a possibility. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk about the code and how we use the code, or how we wrote the code to operate the glasses. Basically, when we first started looking into ideas for the hackathon back in the fall, we threw around a number of ideas, but the one that really stuck out to us was using AR glasses to do pretty cool things. So we all agreed that the glasses would be a fun and challenging project, and so we embarked on our journey to find a suitable pair of glasses that would accomplish the task. We looked at a bunch of different options, but ultimately, the brilliant frames seemed to be the ones, as Brian mentioned, price-wise was good for us. But we also wanted to be able to develop using familiar languages, and the languages and the SDKs that are out of the box, that come out of the box with these brilliant frames glasses, made it kind of a no-brainer for us. The other thing that we really thought was good for us was that the code and even the firmware, you can program right down to the firmware level of these glasses, and that's fully open source. So basically, again, out of the box, the supported SDKs were Python, Flutter. Flutter is a little bit in its infancy, and also Unity using C#. So really, this was great for us because we're proficient in Python, and it just made it easier for us to get started on this right away. So as mentioned, we only had a short window of time to be able to build something for the hackathon. So again, Python was it for us. We also saw that there's a lot of other potential with up-and-coming SDKs. Some of the other supported SDKs are not completed yet, but that they are working on are SDKs for Swift, for Kotlin, React Native, even Web BLE, so Web Bluetooth using JavaScript, and even Python BLE using things like Bleak or Simple BLE. We also found that if there wasn't an SDK available for our preferred language or for your preferred language, you can still communicate with the glasses simply over Bluetooth Low Energy. So that's what we ended up doing for this builder hour. We wanted to make it mobile, so we chose to use Swift for iOS to build our solution. So basically, once you're connected to the frames over Bluetooth, how it works is that you send the glasses Lua commands, and you send them in like a REPL-like interaction. For those who aren't aware, Lua it's just a tiny and extensible scripting language, and it's designed to be power efficient, quick to learn, and really the frames use a complete virtual machine based on the latest public release of Lua. So with this solution, there are no cables. There's no setup really needed. Lua on the frames is accessed solely over Bluetooth. And really any created host app can easily execute the scripts by pushing Lua strings to the device. Again, our initial demonstration back at the hackathon, we built it using Python, but we were running it off of a laptop. And so hence the reason why we thought it would be a better plan, or it would be accepted a little bit better to build it on a mobile device. So let me take a little bit of time here to discuss in high level what the Swift code accomplishes. Initially, when we started building out the iOS app, the initial design was based off a single view controller. And that view controller communicates with the AR frames over Bluetooth. But over time, in the development process, we expanded the code to include a root view controller, which handles swipes and paging and things like that. But we also added a second view controller, and as you saw from Sergio's demonstration, that second view controller acts as an emulator for what you see on the glasses. So today what I'll do is I'll focus on the main view controller because most of the functionality really revolves around that. So here's a broad high-level overview of what the view controller does. One, basically, it enables Bluetooth connectivity. So what we ended up doing is we created delegates. We called them CB Central Manager and CB Peripheral. And what those delegates were designed to do is to scan for, connect to, and ultimately communicate with the frames. Then what we ended up doing is we decided that we need to look for the peripheral whose name, like the name of the peripheral, and we wanted, basically the frames have their own unique code, but all of them start with frame. And so what we do is we search for a peripheral whose name starts with frame. After we find it, we stop scanning, and then we just connect to the device. Once we're connected to the device, what we end up doing is we start discovery of the various services, and then we set up a writable characteristic, basically for sending Lua commands, and then we set up a notifiable characteristic for receiving things like image data and whatnot. On the site, which actually made it easier for us when it came to the characteristics, we knew what was the receive and what was the send characteristic based on the UUID of the characteristics. So Brilliant Labs lists the UUIDs of those characteristics on their site. And so basically we just hard-coded that in so that we knew what was the receiving and what was the transmitting characteristic that we can communicate on. We also needed to manage the data flow. So the data flow here is all of the data that's either sent to the device or received from the devices are sent to a command queue. And basically those commands are sent based on the size of the device's max MTU setting. And so we handle chunk data, like for example, receiving images in that fashion through the command queue. Same thing when we're sending Lua commands. We have to send the Lua commands one at a time. So we also thought, well, of course, being a mobile device and wanting to make it more of a hands-free device, we're going to have to build in speech recognition. So we built in a custom speech recognition helper class in order to detect voice commands. So basically when certain keywords are recognized, like show menu or scan barcode or go home, this will trigger the corresponding functions in the view controller to send the commands to the glasses or to perform any other action. The glasses themselves. So basically the display, we send Lua script commands to the glasses. And this allows for like dynamic updates to the frame's display for things like showing text or displaying menus, just getting visual feedback also in the glasses as well. And we can also clear the screen too using the same way by sending the Lua commands. So again, as previously mentioned, we do send the Lua commands to a queue so that the commands don't collide. Basically, after one command is acknowledged, the next command is processed. Then we also had to figure out what to do with the images that we receive. So we did image capturing, and we also did processing on the images. So basically, the images are received from the AR frames taken from the camera on the frames. And they're sent to the phone in raw bytes. They all enter like a queue or an array, and basically once we've received the final bytes of data, we reconstruct it and we save it locally on the phone. So after the image has been saved, it passes through a rotation function. The reason why we do this is because, for some odd reason, the image is captured at a 90-degree rotation. And so we dealt with that processing on the phone itself. Then what happens is the data is analyzed from the image captured. And if it's a barcode or if it's a QR code, the value is read, and then we go ahead and we use that value for further processing. So what do we do in this case? Well, let's say, for example, we've captured a barcode's detected, then it moves on to the next step, and that is to call the APIs that we've chosen to use for this solution. So basically, it'll go out if we're using the get product info, we'll request a bearer token, and then we'll use that bearer token to go back out and use the Infor's fetchware API. And basically that will return information like price, quantity on hand, warehouse number, etc. And it'll actually show it on the frames. So for our product image workflow, basically what happens is we'll capture the image in the same way, but then what it'll do is it'll encode the image. It'll encode the captured image in base 64. And then once the image processing is done, it prompts the user for a spoken product code. So then the user will speak the product code, and then it moves on and it uploads the image to the IDM product images document type. It could be sent to any document type that we want, but in this case, this is what CSD is looking for, is for product images. So, but before we end up doing that, we pass the image actually through a different API. Sergio showed that one to you before. It's the remove BG API. So by doing that, it kind of helps the image to look a little bit more professional, where you don't have to see the papers and the background things all around it. So so that's what we're doing here for the image workflow. We've also built in a user kind of interface. I know you may have seen it in Sergio's demo, where you do have the emulator, but you also have another interface. But what that does is it allows us, we put that on the main view controller, but what that does is it allows us to see log information. So we built in on that view controller a UI text view, a scrollable UI text view. So as events happen throughout the system or throughout the application, it loads it into the UI text view, and the text view scrolls with the latest information for things like logs, connection status, errors, things like that. So we've also added a UI image view to the main view controller, and what the purpose of that was really just so that it could help us to identify any issues maybe with the image. So if the image didn't get loaded to IDM properly, well, we can see what the actual captured image looked like. So that's why we built that in and helped for troubleshooting. We also created function handlers in the application for things for like typical commands, like showing help or adding product image, clearing screen. And this also, as mentioned, it updates, as we're doing that, it updates the secondary page view or the emulator screen to mirror what's happening with the glasses. We also thought that, we would need some audio in there just to provide audio cues. And basically, we built in an AV audio session to allow playback of sound effects or chimes based on different events that happen throughout the glasses or throughout the session while you're using the glasses. We also provided basic error handling and console debug text and things like that for all the major operations. So really, in short, we've incorporated the following functionality into the app. And then the first thing is to listen for Bluetooth devices and connect to the frames. Other things like listening for specific voice commands, using speech recognition. We're sending Lua commands to the frames to display information. and also to receive data like picture data and whatnot. And we're also we're processing the image or the return data, the image data, on the phone itself. For things like barcode recognition, sharpening the barcodes, or doing grayscale, for example, on the barcodes if needed. We also maintain logs and UI elements for live feedback and user interactions. So basically, I guess thanks for listening to what I had to say about the code. I hope you found it useful. And this kind of been a labor of love for us over the past few months. Not only have we learned a lot along the way, we've built something we think is pretty cool. It is still a proof of concept in our eyes, but we do plan to continue developing it. And one day, hopefully, we can bring it to market when the technology is a little more stable. And honestly, our cup is really overflowing with ways on how we can improve and expand and make it more stable and better for consumer use. So also thanks to Infor for providing us with a platform where something as fun and cool as this could be imagined and brought to life. So until next
Perfect.
time, I'm Rob Thayer.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Very, very interesting demo. So as you see, there are a lot of different components that go into, again, talking to these glasses. Communication, two-way communication, grabbing the images, cleaning the images, all of that kind of stuff. And again, our issue is the technology is just right on the cusp of being there. It would be more fun to, like I said, just look at something, have AI recognize what that is, and then do your work instead of scanning a barcode or something like that. We actually started down that path, but the camera wasn't quite good enough in our $350 glasses, and things like that. If you were to go look, a good thing to look at if you want is if you Google Brilliant Frames or Brilliant Labs frame. There are some good YouTubes out there of a guy walking around using again, the AI is basically in your pocket, in your phone, using AI to recognize images or do math, or again, in our world, yes, we could use AI to go look at something, order product, return images, return data, essentially on anything that's inside of Cloud Suite. So with that said, Greg, do we have questions? Do we have things to talk about?
Yes, and thank you to Chris. He's been actually getting some quick responses out to them, but we'll bring some up here that we can discuss in a little more detail. But before I do, I just want to say thank you very much. You guys have really done a brilliant job of sharing the overall life cycle of the application. You've covered the ideation, business justification, architecture, implementation details. Gracefully handled a little demo challenge. So at the back half, the smartphone was being used for display of what was being mirrored off the glasses. So the glasses were 100%, and it was just that shared display functionality that only kicked in at the back end. And also, you did a great job of doing this overall survey of the augmented intelligence space. For viewers, I'm excited because this is real and they're able to deliver this today. And the only thing that's holding back the team at NSA is for the hardware to get even more powerful, to get better resolutions with the cameras and faster speeds and things of that nature. But again, thank you, gentlemen, for giving us this survey of the augmented intelligence space. There were a lot of questions around image recognition. Could you go and, for instance, use a QR code for ordering and inventory? So you guys did the job. You triggered, and everybody's attending here thoughts about what next and how we can go places. So before we start taking this to the finish line, please ask any more questions that you have, and we'll get your responses on that. So Brian, what would you say about what are some of the avenues that are open for image recognition. For instance, a user GreekVid said, could you use image recognition instead of a QR code, perhaps for ordering or inventory? And what can, and there were also questions about using AI information for the glasses as well.
So we went down the path in the beginning of trying to use, we thought it would be really cool. Hey, let's use Infor's new AI technology out of data lake to go recognize images and things like that. But what we found is we needed to populate the data in the system for to have knowledge of these images, and it was again too difficult to do in the time frame we had for the hackathon. So there are external APIs out there and things like that that will do image recognition, and absolutely I think that's a way cooler way of doing it, just looking at something versus scanning a barcode or scanning a QR code to get information. But scanning the barcode or the QR code are going to be more accurate. So there's trade-offs there between cool and accurate. So, but possible. It's all possible.
Dennis asks, which AI technical component is involved in cleaning the image?
Sergio, do you want to pop on and talk about that for a sec? You were involved in that one.
Yeah, so that was it's the Remove BG product. There's a lot of them out there, and they do all sorts of stuff. And even Remove BG does a lot of stuff. But what it does is it uses AI to remove the background on the image. So it identifies the image. It has to be in the middle of the screen, and the contrast has to be high too. So if you take an image in which there's a lot of stuff going on, it's going to really struggle to figure out where the product is. But what it does is it does establish the boundaries of the image, and then it whites it out. It can also replace the background with something. So if you want to superimpose it on a scene or put your logo on it, it can also do that.
Excellent. And again, you guys did a great job laying out the architecture. So where we need to bring in AI, once we get that into Cloud Suite, pretty much the sky's the limit. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and again, we use the AI gateway inside of Cloud Suite, so we're only talking to essentially one endpoint. We're not doing all sorts of different authentications and different things, which again, in the end, makes it quicker and easier to do.
Excellent. So there were also some another question, maybe just to clarify. There was a question just reiterating, and I think we need to just correct something. They said, so the workflow is triggered from the smartphone by passing the photo into base 64, and the product number is retrieved from a voice command. I think on the front side, am I correct? It is the glasses that triggered the workflow.
Rob?
So what triggers the workflow is, the user's intent, right? So the user's going to say, I want to use a product image. They have the choice to get product info, or they have the choice to ask for a product image. And so what ends up happening from there is that the device, the glasses, get sent Lua commands to take an image from the camera. And then it retrieves that image data. At that point, the image data is not base 64. The image data is raw bytes. So the raw bytes get sent to the phone, where the phone reconstructs all of those raw bytes into an image. And then that image itself, the file image on the phone, gets converted into base 64. And then it basically waits for the product code to be spoken. And once the product code is successfully spoken, the code on the phone, the process on the phone determines, whether it's valid, not valid, if there's any error handling, whatever needs to take place. Once it's valid, then it sends that base 64 string over to IDM, where it gets loaded into IDM.
Excellent. Well, we are actually now at the top of the hour. As I said at the open, quite an ambitious amount of ground to cover in such a short amount of time. But so we do want to thank everyone for attending, and to extend special thank yous to the team from NSA for sharing some of their secret sauce with us today. This is capability that's available today. If you're going to be catching this as a recording some months afterward, please definitely contact NSA because, as I said, as the hardware and the ecosystem evolves, they're going to be able to do even more powerful things. Of course, the Cloud Suite side is already up and fully functional. So after we wrap up today, please keep an eye out for more upcoming Builder Hours. We are working to showcase different experts in each of the upcoming months. For you, our customers and partners, there is also an ongoing new content on the developer portal and on the Infor YouTube channel. So please check both frequently. And as you have questions, be sure to try out the new Infor communities. That again, you can find through the developer portal. And then one last great option is to sign up for the monthly Infor developer newsletter that will highlight for you new products, features, tutorials, and events. So sign up for the newsletter to ensure that you know about all of these first. And to sign up, go to the developer portal homepage, and at the bottom, you'll find the link for the sign up. And so that's at developer.infor.com. So from all of the team here at Infor and NSA, we are always working to ensure that you know how to make what is possible happen using Infor technologies at your own company. Thank you very much.
Thank you.